Episode God's G-Team Relaxing and Recovering in St. Lucia in the Caribbean. Well, so here we are, putting aside our navel gazing and pontification for now. Let's talk about the present, the right here, the right now. It's been a wild ride. We saved the world twice, but doing so has been, destructive, to say the least. Yeah, maybe more accurately, it was actually great devastation and destruction and loss, and even death. Well, horrific as our journey has been, those stories are now behind us. Of course, you can experience all of their prior adventures in the previous Rick Liberty books. Let's continue. Well, what all that destruction means, like I said, right here, right now. Well, it's that we needed to lay low, at least for a while any heat that we created in our actions to save humanity died down. Consequently, we went to the Caribbean to hide out and recuperate after we recently left New York. We were living on the beach, sort of. We were living in our cargo plane RV, right there on the beach. We were living mostly carefree, having arrived undetected, flying literally under the radar, practically surfing the waves as we flew to avoid being detected, and eventually landing on an illicit shady beach on the island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean. Taylor Everest, with her long blonde flowing hair and her slender, strong, ex-military form, donned a black wetsuit and rode excitedly on a jet ski. She shifted her weight left and right, forward and back, up and down. She and her jet ski seemed to become one, human and machine melded together. She and her jet ski were one human-machine force in form and in function. Okay, let's just look at it. She was having a great time. Taylor exclaimed, "Can you believe this?" As she blasted by on her jet ski, she excitedly shrilled, "Check this out!" She showed off stunt after stunt. She stood on her jet ski seemingly dangerously. She even drove facing backwards at one point. Like I said, Taylor was just having a great and good time. Out of left field, literally left of field of view, came Sarah McGilvray with her strawberry blonde hair and thin body in a white wetsuit. She zipped by on her jet ski. She was crisscrossing and jumping up on the waves and the wakes of jet skis and boats. Sarah zipped by Taylor, waving to everyone as she did. She seemingly was intent on making sure that everyone saw that she was having a good time. As she was instructed to do. Yeah, Sarah does not actually take time off or take it easy naturally. She actually has to schedule the time to do nothing to relax. She schedules it in her calendar as an actual task. Well, anyway, she made sure that everyone knew that she was fulfilling her commitment, that she was having a good time taking time off, like everyone else was doing. Katie, or Katie Snowette, she showed off her thin Korean Latina form and long dark hair. She wore a bright pink bikini bathing suit. She smiled and laughed as she ran up and down the beach, throwing a beach ball to and from. HR Bob, who surprisingly was actually being silly and having a ball of a good time himself, playing with Katie, seemingly carefree, living in the moment. Something is very unlike Bob. Yes, HR Bob, also known aka as Bob Cervantes. Oh yeah, Bob will always still be, though, to me, HR Bob. At some level, it's just who he is. Anyway, HR Bob looked a bit funny wearing his black beret and rimmed black glasses and swimming trunks while playing with a beach ball. Tiny, our ever-loyal, hell-touched, aphasia-cursed friend, wore simple black swimming trunks and put on sometimes a sleeveless muscle shirt. Tiny looked entirely normal there on the beach. He was standing and splashing and playing in and around the ocean and the waves. Tiny's naturally dark skin glistened with the water as it splashed and dripped across him and splooshed across his very big muscles. He looked up to the sky as if praying and imploring for something that may well be forever known only to Tiny, as he rarely shares his feelings or thoughts. It was great, though, for me to see Tiny, seemingly content enough, if not even happy, for a moment. As to myself, I just laid there on the beach in my black swim trunks with a beach reclining chair and umbrella, which was also black, of course. I think that I was in decent shape, especially for being in my 50s, and with a common beachwear shirt, I looked, I guess, pretty okay, like an ordinary tourist at least. Well, I took taking time off seriously myself, like Sarah. I had to deliberately and intentionally make plans and schedule time, like her, to truly do nothing. And even then, I couldn't do nothing. I had thoughts. They do not just turn off or lay down on the beach so easily. And so I just sat there and kept thinking, even if I was appearing to others to be doing nothing. And so I sat there on the beach. I watched the water waves and I watched the people, both the familiar and the unfamiliar strangers. I watched our team as they played and tried or feigned to relax, like me. It was remarkable to me how our lives could be so entirely different in just a matter of days. And it was remarkable how people have such varying degrees of the ability to compartmentalize things. In fact, to compartmentalize things so well that life and death experiences and threats can just be put up on a shelf when you get a chance to play in the water or on a jet ski with your friends. Indeed, our lives were seemingly very much remarkable. We lived a dichotomy as God's soldiers on vacation, hiding on the down low. We waged life and death war on one day, and we laugh and play a few days later. It seems absurd to context switch between existential threats and goofing around. But I suppose it is the way it must be for a soldier. Yes, we embodied the very dichotomy of war and peace. I suppose in the end, life, death, and play are all just part of our lives now. I am glad that the team could finally find some time to relax as they played and enjoyed their time off and could feel carefree, at least for that moment. Well, for me, I just sat there and I did nothing. And I watched, I observed, and I thought.